I dare you to watch an episode of WandaVision with mom. Because
With mom?
Yeah, just try to watch one episode of it and just see if mom understands what's happening. Because
I don't know. She schooled me on that Falcon show, though. She was like, oh, that's so-and-so, and that's someone else. She loves it.
And welcome to a very special episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast. This is actually the Snyder Cut episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast. It will be no less than 4 hours, 3 minutes, and 13 seconds long. There's extra scenes. There's siblings that you haven't seen before. There's new villains, new character arcs, an entirely different theme song. But most importantly, it still has the core cast. Becky and Lily are here.
Wait, is it actually 4 hours long?
4 hours, 3 minutes, and 13 seconds. I watched to the very end of the credits.
I don't understand.
Well, we'll get into it. But Lily and Becky, or Lily, how are you?
I'm good. Countdown till I send mom and dad home from camp.
Now,
so, T-minus 7 days.
Now, I assume they started packing a month ago because I remember when we used to go on a trip.
There's so much stuff everywhere that
Mom
I'll just have to collect it for the next year.
Mom would
There's no way they're bringing everything home.
Now you're going to be the one mailing things. You're going to know how it feels.
Yep, for sure.
I remember before camp, like mom would start laying out the socks and labeling things in April. Like after Passover, boom, you went to Schrader's.
Oh yeah, after Passover. It's for sure true.
Everything in the basement was turned into a packing zone. I really believe packing should only be done a few hours before you leave.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you weed things out, you know? So how you know what's really important.
It's like how Becky moved here, screw it, get it back at the airport.
I mean, that's essentially what I did.
Get a U-Haul at the airport.
Beck, how are you doing?
I'm hungover from eating too much last night. I didn't drink anything. I just ate too much, and I'm severely that has to be a thing,
delicious
right?
food.
Becky
I have a food hangover.
Becky made kufta. Was it beef or was it lamb?
Both.
It was
50-50.
It was out of this world. It was like having it from a restaurant. It was, and it had like a.
Don't make delicious food, and
it sat in like a very, very light tahini sauce, and she just like whipped up some delicious salt and pepper chicken on the side with some roasted beets. That was
for your children that will only eat. For your child that will only eat plain chicken. She ate it. She ate it.
Chicken tacos. Your food was out of this world. I hear you're a good cook, Lily. And I remember eating your food.
Not even remotely.
You make a mean honey mustard chicken.
No,
I do.
No, we make.
Facetiously by Becky.
No, Allie makes what we call Tia Lily chicken, which is the chicken with the paprika, the mom's old recipe, and it's always awesome.
With the roasted potatoes.
Sorry, when did you start pronouncing it paprika?
I don't know, but I will say there are many times where Allie's cooked food, and I'll be like, "Oh wow, this is amazing! Make it like this again." And she's like, "This is because I used your sister Lily's recipe."
Aww, that's great. I do baked goods pretty well. If I do say so myself.
That's really good. I'm excited because you'll be here soon too.
Yes, I hope.
That's the plan.
I hope if everything works out.
You're not moving here though. You're just hanging out for a little while.
I mean, longer than a little while, but yeah, I'm kind of moving there for a little bit.
My office has like a tower of He-Man figures, monster trucks, and Transformers waiting for your sons.
It's really exciting. It's very exciting. I don't want to get my hopes up, since the world is on fire, just in case.
Fair
enough.
I've still sent you a care package. Okay. This week was a big week in the comic book, not movie, but streaming world because
Because I just feel like I feel like yesterday you were like, oh, someone should make that Falcon show. And then you sent it to me and Becky.
No. It's been.
I've heard nothing. No one's talked about it. I follow Sebastian Stan on Instagram, and I feel like he's like posting a lot about his like romantic film that he's making or that he just made, and it looks
because he doesn't
like
have to market Falcon and Winter Soldier. There's no box office.
I guess he doesn't.
It's a Marvel movie. People just go and see. They're like, I mean, people watch WandaVision. Becky and I can talk to you about WandaVision.
Ian, how much into this are we going to go? Because I got to tell you, one episode is out. So we've only seen one episode. And I have a lot. I mean, I have nothing to say because nothing happened, but I have a lot to say about nothing.
Okay. Well, I want to first start with Lily's questions about what's actually happening in the show, because I feel like that's the best place for us to start. It was the first episode. We get to see a daring rescue by Sam Wilson, the Falcon, who's now working with the Air Force.
Okay. Yes, a daring rescue. It's a 1 hour episode. 20 minutes are spent on a rescue that presumably has nothing to do with the rest of the series.
But it establishes his relationship with
I have to imagine that
in that they're just chit-chatting while he's on a rescue. The guy on the ground doesn't do much. Everything's established later in the episode when he's on his cell phone looking for, what are they, like Pokemon Go's, whatever it is.
Pokemon terrorists.
That's when the relationship is established. And it was a super cool action scene. I watched it. I was like,
I've seen it in a bunch of other movies.
No,
these effects are so cool. It was great. But I'm just saying, as far as like telling me what the show's about, I'm still like, that was 20 minutes of like a 60-minute episode.
Is George St. Pierre not coming back? Is he not coming back?
Who's
not coming back? Who's done?
Chris Evans?
Pierre.
Who?
George St. Pierre.
Who's George St. Pierre?
Did you guys even watch the show?
Are we watching the same show?
Who's George?
He was like the biggest get. We were freaking out. That was the only reason I thought you wanted me to watch the show.
The show with Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie?
Who's George St. Pierre?
Only the greatest MMA fighter of all time from Montreal, French Canadian.
Oh, is that one of the French guys?
He was like that big baddie. I can't believe they only for that scene.
Hasn't he already been in a Marvel movie?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't watch
it. So I guess that scene was more important.
It was. And I guess that scene was in another movie.
Already in Captain America Winter Soldier as a villain, just so you know.
So they took that scene from another movie. I knew it.
I have a question. In addition to the fact that his superpower is a backpack with wings, which is fine because he's obviously a great soldier and a great pilot, so that's fine.
Yeah.
In the movies, did he have his like mechanical sidekick?
Oh, like Red Wing. And in the classic comics, Red Wing is like a robot Falcon. So I actually saw that and I pointed that to Allie. She thought it was pretty cool. I was like,
is it like an R2-D2 thing?
It's a drone. It's like a Predator drone or something like that. I thought that was amazing.
I just feel like they keep showing us ways in which he needs help from robots because he's not a superhero.
But that's what makes him cool. He's like he's more of like a Mission Impossible type character, James Bond kind of character.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
That's what this show is, I think, going to be more like. It's going to be more like Captain America Civil War and Captain America Winter Soldier than the more cosmic, surreal, magic powers Avengers movies. This is two guys that are...
But I just want to say, as far as like telling me what the show is about, the first 20 minutes are a scene that I don't think are what the show is about. And then by the time that whole first episode ended, I'm like, that was a full hour. And I think I got like one piece of information.
I, first of all, firmly believe that that opening scene was a declaration.
Okay.
That Marvel is, when it makes action TV shows, because look, we
watched
another Marvel show that was 3 straight episodes, very artistic, very interesting. WandaVision.
I really liked it.
But 3
Becky
straight episodes.
It? Yeah.
But I mean, it's
Shai,
really...
you refuse to watch it.
It's so like cuckoo bananas. It is so much fun.
But it's not... which is great. It's not the same as the other Marvel shows. It's
no.
It's like the Truman Show.
Listen, I appreciate how intense and like clearly with this show, they're telling us when we do a show, we're still making it cinematic. We're still making it like our movies.
Yes, I feel like they spent a lot of time.
I want to point to
trying to sell
when Bucky is in his therapy session, and they have that like very weird angle of just like the corner of his eye and then the corner of the therapist's eye, and they just keep cutting. See, I don't like that because I'm like, you're trying so hard to tell me that this is cinematic that it just like just give me the information at a certain point. Do like just a nice shot, reverse shot. Show me you know how to shoot it.
It's about
I did
so hard to tell me it's cinematic. I get it. You're not just an average TV show. You're Marvel. Cool.
But Marvel Cinematic Universe aren't cinematic. They're not artistic. Like, you don't see an angle. I don't know if
it's not going to be shot like your everyday TV show. It's going to be shot like a movie.
I think it's very similar to the opening of The Mandalorian. In fact, I think from an effects standpoint, this was even cooler. The opening scene of this was even cooler.
See, here's what's great about The Mandalorian. Even if you only get one nugget of information in each episode about the overall arc, you're getting an adventure in each episode.
Well, this was a lot of. This was, I will say,
this was an action talking about that, like repairing that boat. Like, should they repair the boat? Should they sell the boat?
They're talking about the blip.
Aren't millionaires, and the economic and social impact of the world freezing for 5 years, to me.
Sure, but I also feel like with the boys, like why is he getting a cereal deal? Like, I feel like it's weird he doesn't have more money. It makes no sense.
No, but that's part Tony Stark is. Well, I will say, like, why can't he just go to, like,
the superheroes and the boys have all these deals? Which I'm not saying it should be like that, but I feel like someone should have given Falcon like a Nike deal, or I don't know.
But Falcon's a soldier. Also, if he's working for the Air Force, frankly, he should be like making a lot of money as a defense contractor. But
right.
Either way, I also think
but also it kind of showed us
unemployed Avengers.
It showed us some of his not such, like, it's showing his imperfections. The idea that he's coming back into this being idealistic and also really hard on his sister and not hearing what his sister is saying, of being like, I was alone for 5 years as a single mom. I'm just trying to survive. Like, I was a little bit like, Falcon, you're not listening to her. Like, she's being very clear with what she needs, and you're saying you know better. I was like very much team Sarah, right? That's her name. I was team Sarah in that whole argument because, yeah, man.
I mean, I don't bet against Falcon, but
okay. Well, I'm just saying I don't think
that was a team thing. I think that was I was just imagining what it would be like if we had to deal with like a family legacy and that kind of issue. I feel like that's very stressful.
It is, but again,
it is very stressful. But like, how is he going to be working?
Like, I thought you would have more money, and I'm like, so did I. Like, why isn't she dipping into his bank account for the last 5 years?
It is true.
What's happening?
I do wonder why Pepper Potts, like, who now presumably runs Stark,
is not cutting checks for all these guys for saving the world.
I mean, to be honest, like, when you think about people in a post-Civil War society, one of the big fears you have is, like, what do you do with all these people who've been fighting the war? Like, you better get them jobs. Otherwise, they're going to be, like, at home with PTSD and lots of weapons. So, like, there is something to be said for, like, where this guy, although I will say also, it's strange to me that even in a cold-hearted economy like the United States, that, like, banks don't have any, I mean, I guess with 5 billion extra people showing up, the economy's messed up, but I don't know. You'd think you'd have something. I feel like that banker was awful, but, like, you're right.
I get like the message that they're sending too when she makes it clear, like, she brings race into it.
Well,
so I'm
obviously
not, like,
the bank guy was racist. I mean, that was
right. Like, I'm not gonna like obviously pretend that wasn't a very important issue that they brought up. I'm just like Becky said, I feel like there was a lot in there and nothing at all at the same time.
So no, I get that they were okay. I get that they were laying the groundwork for us to understand this world. Like, they're creating Falcon's world. So I appreciate, like, all the stuff with the sister and the boat and the bank. What they need to do with right now with the series is that we're not in the Avengers world, we're in Falcon's world. So show me what Falcon's world, what the rules are, what is happening, what's the foundation.
And
then
we're doing the same thing with Bucky. One of the messages of that is that Falcon almost saved the world and people are still racist towards him. And I think that is actually a really, like, hammered home really well.
Sure. But my issue with this
issue is, like, what's the show about?
The show's about Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Okay, fine, whatever. But my issue is more like that there's so many of these, like, what's Falcon's world like? What's Peter Parker in this version world's like? And like I still can't figure out how when he went back after 5 years, his high school friends were still in high school. Like, I can't.
No, because they blipped with him.
All of them? That's so convenient.
No, some were older and some were younger. That's why that young guy is
you gotta like
Mary Jane.
So his like best friend and Zendaya blipped with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people disappeared.
Convenient.
Okay.
There's a lot of worlds that we have to like unpack. And I would have been just happy with the Captain America one because that was my favorite story from the beginning.
I know. I love Cap.
Yeah.
But this is like the Captain America story.
Right. I love Sebastian Stan.
Captain America, does he have superpowers or is he just an actor in a suit?
So first of all, that's Wyatt Russell. Kurt Russell.
It doesn't look like him at all.
Well, you can see that little face when you see it under the. But so U.S. Agent, which is who the character is, like that. I forget the name of the guy that's.
Oh, I get it. U.S.
Agent.
Got it.
Right?
Agent. I was kept reading it U.S. Agent. And I'm like, you meant like a gent, like a gentleman in your text?
U.S. Agent.
The USA gent.
Well,
all right.
I have like his card somewhere. He was like a replacement.
They should separate the U.S. and the.
Like he was Captain America for a little while, but I think there's different variations of him. Like he may turn to be like, I'm curious if they're going to make him like a Homelander type of character, like an uber crazy patriot, or if he is going to be the actual U.S. Agent became one of the Avengers. So it'll be interesting to see if
he has superpowers.
I don't know what they're going to do with this particular character, but it's possible he's some kind of, maybe not the full super soldier serum because they've never been able to use it on anyone really but Captain America, but it could be some other kind of.
Okay, give me some explanation of what is Bucky actually up to right now? I don't understand. He's making amends?
So Bucky, for 70 years of the Cold War, he would have his mind wiped, and then Hydra or the Russians or whoever would send him out to assassinate people. Among the people he assassinated, which is, spoiler alert for Marvel Avengers Civil War, and the whole point of that movie and why that movie is so great, and it annoys me that Lily never finished watching it with me.
I thought it was Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier we saw all together, but Civil War, the whole point of Civil War is you think the bad guy the entire time is going to be that Baron Zemo, or Zemo is his name. He'll be Baron Zemo, but Zemo, played by Daniel Bruhl, that the whole point of what he's doing, you think, is he's going to unleash new super soldiers on the world. But the main thing that he's working on that whole movie is to get Iron Man and Captain America in the room. He hates them because they destroyed Sokovia, his home in Avengers Age of Ultron. To get them in a room and reveal the fact that Captain America's best friend, who he has been protecting when he was an assassin, one of the people he assassinated was Tony Stark's parents. So the baggage of who he's assassinated was a major thing because that is when Captain America and Bucky basically like crippled Iron Man fighting for their lives again.
Right. And they like run off together. And that I will say that it's pretty cool that the Captain America movies are still my favorite.
So this is the fallout for Bucky after he's lived in Wakanda. He fought in, the Infinity War. And now Bucky is getting his own story to be like, okay, now how do we deal with the consequences of Bucky, who has murdered people, sometimes murdered people who are relatives of his friends, like the nice old man.
He was brainwashed.
Yeah, he'd have his memory erased and then re-brainwashed. They'd thaw him out. They'd send him to kill.
Mom was like, we should watch that movie again. And I was like, he was bad and now he's good. There you go. Done. 3 hours. Done.
So my theory is that they are going to uncover something, scheming and bad. Maybe Daniel Bruhl will come back as Zemo because he never got to be like his full character. Like the Zemo in the movie is just like a dude, but Zemo in the cartoons is like a purple mask. And anyways, so my theory is that something like that is
he is cast in the show, isn't he?
Is he?
Yeah.
If he is, then that's amazing. Yeah. Then he's going to be. And then my big hope is that, and this is a real long shot, although I did see like an article that suggested this might happen, is my big hope is that we will see one of my absolute favorite villains ever from the X-Men in the 90s, because the X-Men world is now technically owned by Disney. So like as a way of sort of slipping it together, is Omega Red, who was a like Russian project version of Weapon X of what Wolverine was. And instead of like claws, he has these like amazing tentacles and a big red headband and a ponytail. And he's just like a monster. And I would love to see Bucky and Sam Wilson have to fight this guy because it would be an evenly matched situation.
Bucky is strong. He has the same super soldier serum in him that Captain America did.
Yeah,
Captain America.
And he has one robot arm.
Yeah.
But his new robot arm, I believe, was made in Wakanda.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, yeah. Is that in any of the movies?
Yeah.
When he talks about his time in Wakanda?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in Infinity War. We saw that together when they go, when Captain America is looking for allies and he goes out to Wakanda for help because he knows Bucky's there. And then they say, get this man a shield, which is like maybe one of the greatest like moments. And like that makes my hair stand up. I don't love the Infinity War movies, but that moment makes my hair stand up. Okay. Who is your MVP so far in one episode? And what do you predict? I've already laid out my predictions. Come on, this is meant to make
but okay, I'll predict something, but remind me. There's the bad guys are the people that want a stateless world.
Well, that's what they think they are. Who knows who they are?
Well, I don't know. That guy had some Loki hair.
Stateless world, or like a borderless world.
Borderless. Right. He had Loki hair, so which wouldn't make any sense for it to be Loki.
But Loki's getting his own shows soon too.
I'm just saying his hair looked like Loki.
You get a show, and you get a show. Come on.
Do I get a show?
That's I actually want to see that.
My prediction is that the bad guy from this show and Loki have the same stylist.
Okay.
Okay. So my MVP. Let's remember Don Cheadle shows up in it. Oh, we have Bucky. We have Falcon. We have Falcon's sister.
Georges St-Pierre.
Georges St-Pierre. Oh, we have Falcon's buddy, who's the one who's doing Pokemon Go to find the bad guys.
Well, he's okay. But who's your MVP? You're just listing characters now.
Bucky.
You're just trying Bucky. Okay. I want Sebastian Stan to be amazing in this so that he can play young Luke Skywalker. Because I have this vision of this Luke Skywalker show where like part of it is old Luke Skywalker telling the story, and then so we get Mark Hamill, and then Sebastian Stan is young Luke Skywalker.
I'm thinking about why I said Bucky, and I said Bucky because when we have the Falcon introduction, we have the Bucky introduction, and Bucky's character, I think disagree with me, but there just seemed to be like a lot more depth and dimension. And Falcon, yes, he's dealing with the fact that he was gone for 5 years. He's dealing with the responsibility of saying he's not going to be essentially the next Captain America. There are those two facets. But I think his like positive attitude, it's going to be okay, I'm going to make it work. It just felt very like, I hope they develop him further and give more depth to his character and help us understand his motivation more. And I hope it's not falling into some, terrible Hollywood trope of like the white character is so much more multidimensional than the black character. I hope it's just that they're showing us who he is right now in this moment, and that over the course of the series, they're really going to evolve and grow him and have us like understand kind of what he's going through emotionally with having blipped.
The series does have to play catch up with Falcon because he has been an awesome character, but a side character with not much backstory. Whereas Bucky's backstory is inherent to what makes it. He was Bucky in a whole movie before he reappeared as the Winter Soldier.
Right. So anyway, I'm just saying like Bucky has so much more of a track record with so much more having gone. Granted, he's also 109 years old. So, or 106 years old, whatever it is, 106. So I'm just saying, right now my MVP was Bucky in the first episode. And my prediction or my hope is that over the course of the series, we're going to get a really strong arc with Falcon. We're going to get a lot more depth, and I'd like to feel like that same sort of epicness for him as we did for Captain America.
My hope is that Falcon, who in the comics, Sam Wilson is Captain America for a little while. My hope is that part of what Sam Wilson does in the journey we go on is him accepting the greatness that Steve saw in him, that frankly Bucky saw in Steve, I think, if I remember correctly, like that. and going and taking up the mantle as a version of Captain America. Like, and that Captain America isn't about the super soldier serum, which is, I think, another really important thing. Steve Rogers was a superhuman, but if he wasn't that character who's not only his integrity, but the arc that Steve Rogers grows on from like, you know, super Boy Scout to sort of like anti-establishment hero is amazing. And I think Sam, we have the opportunity to do that with Sam, and Sam realize that there's a journey he's going to go on, and that no, it doesn't have to be the Winter Soldier just because he has superpowers. Like, actually,
what it is, the Winter Soldier has negative connotation.
Well, the Winter Soldier was Bucky's like name when he was a bad guy and he was assassinating people. He was this like mysterious guy who would appear and be thought out, and appear and be frozen and then thought out.
So it really should be just called the Sam and Bucky Show.
I mean, I would watch the Sam and Bucky.
He can reclaim Winter Soldier. He could reclaim that title.
I guess he will.
I do think it's odd that they call it the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because I thought he was just Falcon.
Falcon. It should be called Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Also, isn't there a famous movie, Falcon and the Snowman? Or is it The Falcon and the Snowman?
I know, people love putting "thes" on movie titles.
Wait, let me see. The Falcon.
I don't know, but I just realized that his Instagram is filled with stuff promoting the show, and I probably thought it was just another Avengers movie.
Here's the play. So there is a movie. I bet you this is somehow connected to this, but there is a movie that stars Timothy Hutton and Sean Penn called The Falcon and the Snowman. Right, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That is a Cold War, I think, spy movie from the 80s. So maybe it's a play on that, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, The Falcon and the Snowman. Like, maybe, like, who knows? All right, moving on from this. Now I'm gonna sort of like have you guys interview me, because I have promised to do a deep dive with Tony and Brian on Take Two, but I don't know when that's gonna happen. So we'll just do a few minutes on you guys asking me questions about the 4-hour, 3 minute and 13 seconds of the Snyder Cut.
When you called me and started talking about it, I immediately stopped listening.
Let's start. Okay, first question. What is a Snyder Cut?
Okay. So the first question is this. When Zack Snyder, who directed Superman Man of Steel and directed Batman v Superman, and had sort of been given the keys to the visual style of the DC extended universe.
This I actually know. Then he had to leave.
Then he had to leave for like a huge tragedy. His
tragedy.
Child passed away, which is horrible. Yeah. And so they handed the movie over to Joss Whedon to finish. Now, terrible things about Joss Whedon are being alleged. On top of the fact that, you know, Joss Whedon, who was a darling with the first Avengers movie, it seems the like fan community has gotten tired of Joss Whedon's like tricks, which are like the quippy dialogue and the sort of like winking at the camera, and so it seems that, and I did not see the original version, people really didn't like it. They felt like it was, I mean, to short that it was like, you know, now who knows what studio meddling happened? Maybe they were just like, look, Joss, come in and fix this, and then we're cutting bait on this thing because it's a mess. Like, who knows? But fans for many years demanded the Snyder Cut. They believed there was a cut that Zack Snyder had made, and they wanted to see it. And conveniently, Warner Media needed to get people to sign up to HBO Max, and the DC universe is one of the things they have going for them. And this, you know, Snyder Cut, which is this, you know, 4-hour thing that kind of like, where else could it premiere, is exclusively available on HBO Max, and therefore it became the perfect bait for people to join HBO. Now, I will say this movie, it does not run like a normal movie. I think of it more like a season of a TV show, because it has chapter markers. Like, there's part 1, part 2, part 3, part 5, part 6. And then wait, after part 6, there's a half-hour epilogue. So at 3.5-hour movies, there's a half-hour at the end that's like basically a bunch of deleted scenes kind of strung together. They're not even in the same continuity. Like, one is a dream, one is Lex Luthor on a boat.
Wait, now with the Snyder Cut, did anything have to be reshot, or this was all in the original script? That's what I don't understand.
It seems that I read an article on Vulture that said that a lot of it was rearranging things that were already there. a lot of it was adding visual effects, like redoing a lot of the visual effects to his liking. Now, who knows? Maybe Warner skimped out on the visual effects the first time, but they completely redesigned the villain, for example, Steppenwolf, not just the band that gave us Born to Be Wild. And they added the villain Darkseid, who is essentially, just to like shorthand, like Darkseid and Thanos are basically the same character. One, well, not the same. They have different motivations, but one is the Marvel version, one is the DC version. I think even the DC version, Darkseid was created before Thanos. But anyways, it was like one of those situations like where both were like, we need a big space demon. And so he does not even appear in the original cut, but they gave him like multiple scenes, and he doesn't like get into the fight, but there's a lot of like ominous visions of him and visions of him like fighting in the future, whereas he was not in the other movie at all. So there were apparently some reshoots of like one of the deleted scenes, but there was also no footage. Apparently anything Joss Whedon shot was removed from the movie.
Wow.
And
really?
the score was totally changed. So there was this guy who scored the movie. I feel like his name is like DJ XL or DJ XY, something like that. And he had started the score on Zack Snyder's version when what's his name? When Whedon came in, he dumped him for Danny Elfman. Zack Snyder brought him back and he wrote a whole new score. I have to tell you, this is one of the worst scored movies I've ever experienced. Like, I don't know, maybe Danny Elfman's was bad. I mean, although he is the guy that gave us the Batman 89
Elfman
theme and all of Tim Burton's movies, right?
Yeah.
Like, I found the Snyder Cut score is one of the most oppressive things I've ever experienced. It's just like a lot of noise and then like Gaelic lamentations. Like so many times in the movie, you see the subtitles say lamentations because like Wonder Woman's fighting and then they go like, all right. So there's a lot of that. But wait. So I want to just wrap. So I haven't given you my reaction, but I'm just telling you these are the changes.
There's just the explanation.
But they also added a lot more.
Movie.
They also added a lot more character stuff. So like the Flash and Aquaman and Cyborg all got way more screen time apparently.
But what I'm trying to understand is, does that mean they went and shot new scenes with them, or all these scenes were shot, but they just never like this? This was like the original script, and it just was edited completely differently.
I mean, I don't exactly know the answer to that, but I'm guessing all of these scenes had to be were not just like scenes of dialogue in a kitchen. They like had the Flash's suit and Aquaman's aqua stuff. So like these things probably cost a ton of money to finish. And they had to invest in finishing.
What is it really like? Who gets? I mean, I'm so sorry he had to drop out when he had to drop out, but like, talk about a do-over.
I mean, he deserves it. Like put it this way: I didn't see the original. My reaction to this movie is this was a totally fun superhero. It has stupid things in it, like, and it has Zack Snyder things in it. Like, it probably could have been 3 hours just if they didn't do every scene in slow motion, right? Like, there are scenes in slow motion that are like Lois Lane crying. And then when they do the super fast scenes with the Flash, they do those in half the speed of the slow motion speed to make you feel like it's going even faster.
Who's Lois Lane?
Lois Lane, she's married to Superman. Because there's a whole...
Thank you. I mean,
Amy
who
Adams.
plays her?
Amy Adams. She was the same one.
Right.
So here's the thing. So number one,
I blocked that one of those movies that I saw out of my head.
This movie to me comes in.
I just don't know what the continuity is anymore of these movies.
This movie comes in.
So then, who's Robert Pattinson?
He's a new Batman that's playing a younger version of Batman.
That's not part of this timeline.
I don't know if it's part of this timeline or not, but DC is not as hung up on having all of its movies be in the same timeline. Like, they have Joker, they have the Nolan trilogy.
So Ben Affleck is Batman in this timeline.
Yeah. And so what I will say is that this movie comes in while it's long.
Is that instead of Christian Bale, like being recast as Ben Affleck instead of Christian Bale?
It's not Ben Affleck recasting Christian Bale. It's in this version of the DC universe.
Because the Nolan is a closed separate.
It's a closed. Thing. It's an open and closed thing. Exactly.
Like Michael Keaton is a separate thing.
Okay, got it.
And DC really embraces. Marvel's going to start doing it, I believe, and I'm guessing WandaVision leads us to that. But DC has always embraced this because they have the television universe, right? So they have had there's already 2 people who play the Flash concurrently right now.
How much of the film, like what percentage do you think Superman is in?
Oh, he's barely in this movie.
Ugh, see, you lost me because I'm all here for the Henry Cavill, but if he's barely in it, then
he's only at the end because he's dead for most of the movie. The guilt that
he dies.
He dies at the end of Batman versus Superman, which is
bringing this back to that text you shared when that someone tweeted. Like, I'm just going to I'm going to text random numbers and be like, Batman's better than Superman to some random phone number.
But what I don't understand, first of all, how could you kill Superman and why would you kill Superman?
And she's like, how would you kill Superman?
How and why? Why would you kill Superman?
Oh, God. Batman v Superman is like such a bad movie.
But why would you kill him? What does that serve to kill Superman?
So,
Becky,
first of all, Superman died in the 90s.
Conversation I've ever had in my life.
He died in the 90s?
In the 90s, he got killed by Doomsday.
Yes, I remember. Don't you remember the cover of that?
Yeah, I have it from then.
Comic?
So Superman died in the 90s. And so it's been done. They completely butchered the story. And it's like so fakakta how they got there. But I will say they did the revival pretty cool in this movie. And my theory, like my overall theory as to why they killed Superman is that I think that like people don't really know what to do with Superman. He's so superhuman and people are so like into Batman that they have to kill Superman to have the other characters.
But is he bad or does he just get killed by a bad guy?
I mean, in the Snyder Cut, he comes, I don't want to ruin it for you. He's not good right now.
I'm never seeing this movie.
I might watch it.
Ever.
I feel like it'd be like something I'd watch over a 6-month period.
So the other thing that is, I think, so this movie to me would come in right at the middle of the Marvel movies. Like this was a solid movie. It's definitely up there with Aquaman and Wonder Woman, meaning like it's far better than the other two Zack Snyder movies. Like maybe Zack Snyder should have been given multiple chances, like 3 or 4 chances on Superman and Batman v Superman, or he should have just had Joss Whedon put them out and have them be a mess and then get all the credit for changing them back, because this one was totally good and left me wanting more, which Batman v Superman and Superman Man of Steel made me never want to see like a DC movie ever again. So it's definitely more in the first Wonder Woman. But the other thing is that the cast is so amazing. Those actors are so good and so charismatic, and they're so like Gal Gadot and Ben Affleck and Ezra Miller and Jeremy Irons as Alfred and Amy Adams as Lois Lane. Like these Momoa as Aquaman, like they bring it. Like they're amazing and they're funny and they're fun. And it's kind of like Thor.
Sure.
Thor taught me that like Chris Evans, what was his name? Which not Chris Evans? Chris Hemsworth is like a great Thor, but those movies were garbage. I'm just like, okay, we'll just wait around until Taika Waititi or someone who really knows how to make one of these movies makes them with the same actors, and it'll be good.
But is that what this is? I don't think so.
Well,
I sound like it.
I mean, maybe they'll make more
punishing.
I mean, here's the thing: this movie benefits from the fact that Wonder Woman, Aquaman, in particular, are so much fun to watch and had their own movies to develop in, although Aquaman hadn't come out at that time, but like they have their own personality that they're not weighed down by the bleak and sadness of like the rest of this movie. And it was so dark, my kids watching it, they said, this is like as dark as a Mandalorian episode. We have no idea what's happening.
Right. You need like a special TV to watch these type of shows.
But I would recommend it. I give it a high rent. I don't know if I would be a buy for me, but it's definitely.
If you said this was the greatest movie you've ever seen in your life, I still would be like, I'm not sure I'm gonna watch it.
I kind of love how you described it as like really long and like mostly okay.
With horrible music.
Really long and mostly okay.
I feel like that's the kind of thing I can do right now, like and handle something like that, because I would just watch it in like I would watch a half hour, I'd turn it off, I'd forget that I started watching it. 2 weeks later, I'd be like, oh, let me see like the next half hour. Like I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, and watch it like with subtitles, because the score is
the hymns or whatever it
like
is.
We're never like, I will say, if the people who made this movie ever listen to this podcast, we're never going to be forgiven for what I just said about that score. But it's people are like the nerds on.
I think you got to be honest. Like,
well, I think it's okay to not like something, but you also acknowledge the fact that this is what the director wanted, and they worked really hard on it, and
people work really hard on it.
Great.
The sum of the parts is actually quite good. The whole is like quite enjoyable. And during the big dramatic ending, the music was actually pretty good. But like, I'm a musician and I have my reactions, but I don't take away from the talent of this person or the work that went into it.
Yeah.
And the fact that this guy redid the whole score. Like, this is the second time he scored this movie.
Cool.
Totally cool. But I didn't enjoy it. Okay. Let's go to our shout outs and recs. Lily, what do you recommend? What have you seen lately?
So we are watching
what maybe second season of a show are you watching that perhaps you have to give your brother and I told you show for?
I haven't finished it yet. We're losing some of the audience on the second season.
Because the beginning of the second season is slow, but I'm telling you, Lily, when I tell you the Conrad brothers.
Oh no, I'm all in. No. I'm obsessed.
They will regret it.
But I'm just saying that like the first finish is so strong and it's so brilliant that I think like the beginning of the second is the other audience members are wavering. I am all in. I love it. And I'm at the point where I'm like, if you're not into it, don't watch it. I'll watch it by myself. Don't care. That's Patriot, Amazon Prime. But we're finishing the season 1 of the show, The One, which is again like sci-fi murder. No, sci-fi in the sense of like technology, but it's like modern like life. It's just this app that can find you your one match genetically. It's like the one person that you were meant to be with by science, like wise. And so it's probably unlikely that
star-crossed lover
the person you married is probably not that actual person, but that could be someone living on your street or someone living in another country. And it's like a 23andMe. If you give your DNA, they'll match you up if that other person happens to have given their DNA. And so it's interesting. And there's a murder mystery kind of aspect to it. It's fun if that you're into that kind of thing. And then I'm sure Becky will want to talk about this too, but Shai, you have to see Moxie. Moxie is one of the better, if not best, like teen movies I've seen ever. And it's so timely and fantastic. And
that's awesome.
Kudos to Amy Poehler, man. Like
so
knocks
excited.
It out of the park once again. That's a really, really great movie on Netflix. And the short film that you asked us to watch is great.
Oh, they hit? We'll talk about that.
You'll talk about that in a second. Yeah. And that sums it up, I guess. Oh, Friday Night Dinner. I peed my pants last night watching an episode. Like I couldn't breathe.
Which episode?
My husband just like videotaped me and mom.
How does he not send us that? He's on the family chat. I need that.
I was just like, my chest hurts. Which episode? Where the grandmother's boyfriend comes to dinner. And he has a Hitler mustache. And he gets on the phone. And when Adam goes, what's the brother?
Johnny.
Adam and Johnny. When Johnny goes, who do you think he's talking to? And Adam deadpans goes, Mussolini. Like it was dying. That was one of the best episodes.
That arc with the boyfriend is actually really, really pays off. We're waiting to start season 4, I think.
I think season 5.
Season 5, whatever. Yeah. The new Jackie is the one that ever episode is.
The two Jackies you're watching with me. So Moxie, I watched Moxie this week. Everything Lily said, I highly recommend. But actually, Lily, the way you're describing the show, The One, reminds me of this movie from 2009 called Timer, which is the same premise, which is fabulous. That's
a great movie. I think that movie is better
Justin Timberlake and his magic watch that takes
No. This is about the premise is very similar. That
movie is I think better than this show.
Yeah. So there's a new dating company where you can go and get this digital timer installed in your wrist, and if your perfect match or soulmate has had their timer installed, then your timer will start counting down to the moment you will meet them. And it's it's really cool. And the whole idea is like, should you get it installed? If you get it installed, what if it says it's 50 years? How do you live your life? What if it says, it's 15 minutes and you're married with 2 kids? Like so you kind of, each character goes through their own arc of getting or not getting their timer put in. But what's interesting is that the woman who wrote and directed that, and I've always thought that movie was So original, so well done, just like and I love that I remembered it was made by a woman. I just looked up her credits. She created WandaVision and wrote all the episodes for it. So she's the head writer and creator of WandaVision.
That's a very cool coincidence.
Makes me feel so good.
Oh, Jack Schaefer?
Coincidence.
Yeah.
Jack Schaefer, yeah.
Oh, wow. I don't know any
She's the writer of the movie Timer. And I think she directed it too.
Sort of want to see this.
She wrote The Hustle, Shai, which we saw in theaters.
She wrote and directed it. So I really do.
And Black Widow. But again, it's part of
The Hustle was called Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway,
bring it back
so
to
I will
Marvel.
give
she did? She wrote Black Widow? That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that movie. I think that's going to be a good movie.
So, now that we know it's written by her, and honestly, I'm only 3 episodes into WandaVision. It's cuckoo bananas. It barely starts to make sense by the end of the 3rd episode, but I'm so excited to keep watching. And I've only waited because we started it with Shai, and so I feel like we should keep watching. But I was about to text you the other night and be like,
I started it with Vlad. It isn't that we started it with Shai. It's we stopped what we were doing to watch it with
Shai started it with Vlad and me. So now I don't want to watch. I was going to text you the other night and be like, okay, everyone watch episode 4 and we'll meet up for episode 5. But I was like, I don't think Shai plays by those rules.
But, I can totally do that.
All right. So I
absorb episodes when I sleep. How do you think I got through the Snyder Cut?
That's what I'm watching.
All right. Mm-hmm. Well, I want to give a huge shout out to this short film that stars Hilary Barraford, who another of the amazing people I encountered on Clubhouse. It's called The Hit, and it's like to me, it was like it's a throwback to screwball comedies, but it also reminded me of like that 90s like violence humor, like that dark humor. It's not uber violent or anything like that, but it is about an assassin who falls in love with the person who she is trying to assassinate. I won't say anything else, but I thought she was hilarious in it. I loved the pacing. I loved the music, and the dark comedy of it is just so up my alley. It kind of reminded me of Four Rooms. I don't know, Lily, if you got that vibe, but like especially the Rodriguez and Tarantino rooms in Four Rooms, it reminded me a little bit of that.
When you said like and the dark humor too.
Yeah. I enjoyed it a lot. It was a lot of fun. And so I recommend that. There isn't really a place to see it. But I hope when there is a place to see it, again, it stars Hilary Barraford and it was directed and written by Jason A. White. Definitely check that out when you get a chance, and hopefully we'll get advised when that's more widely available and we can direct people to it in the future. But shout out to them. That was awesome. All right, Becky, where can people follow you?
Paper BK Princess on Twitter.
And you can follow me, not me, because it's actually Lily's turn to talk, and that's okay. I got like a weird headache in that one moment, and my body was just like, eject. Say all the things you usually say. Lily.
Lily at the Twitter, Chichi K Gomez, ChiChik Gomez on Twitter, and Lily Corman on Clubhouse, but not in a West Coast time zone because I'm never available. Like when I wake up to feed the baby in the middle of the night, I'm like, oh, look what rooms are available to listen to. Back to sleep. Because they're all happening while I'm in the middle of my night. So we need to get some Spaniards on there.
There you go. You should start. You have a market right there.
Maybe. You're right.
Well, you can actually join the Friday Night Movie Club on Clubhouse. We have our own club. It's actually growing. I'll put the link in the it's actually growing quite a lot, which is awesome. We're going to do some live events at some point, like some chats, maybe discuss a movie or a show or something like, or play some of our signature games. Actually, it would be a lot of fun if we did a Friday Night Movie game night and we just played like Buy, Rent, Men, Castaway, and Comparathon and stuff like that. I think that would be a lot of fun. What do you think? Mm-hmm. All right, so we're going to do a Friday Night Movie game night at some point. If you join our Clubhouse club, you just look for me, Shai Corman, on Clubhouse, and then find my club, or I'll put the link to the club in our show notes this week. Becky, by the way, is becoming quite the Clubhouse maven. She jumped into a room. She jumped on the stage.
Becky, I feel like sorry, Becky, you wanted to say something about Shai on Clubhouse, and I thought you were going to say it before we wrapped up.
I forgot.
I still have to do all the. But I just want to praise Becky, who like jumped into a room.
Wait, are you sure she's about to like
No.
Eviscerate me?
Why do you have to ruin my moment? Why do you have to ruin my moment, Lily? Let me receive the praise.
So Shani Suisa, who is a podcaster and sort of like the Clubhouse queen, she is hilarious. She does these rooms that are really irreverent and funny and really encourage the audience to play along. And so she just was doing this everyone's or everything or your right awards or everything's right awards, where you just get to come up and say something that like you feel like you were right about and everyone applauds you and you give an acceptance speech. And Becky, like, I pulled Becky in at the last minute as I used her as part of my answer, and then she gave her own answer, and I thought she crushed it. So I want to tip my hat to Becky.
Yeah.
For performance in Shani's.
I did notice something a bit strange as I've been going into more Clubhouse rooms with you lately, which is that you often make a point to let people know that I'm your biological sister. Which leads me to wonder, how many people are you just referring to as your sister?
No, exactly. But I don't like have like other siblings I name using the word sibling, brother or sister.
But for example,
it's a very unique
Lon's
okay, but that's one human being.
But Lon's
so what's happening that you need to say it every
Lon's
time?
If Lon's was there, I would refer to Lon's as like my podcasting sister, or she calls me her big bro. You know, I want to make sure people know that I'm not being facetious when I say like these are like.
I appreciate the clarification,
like,
but it's
real siblings.
Thank you. Oh, okay. I appreciate the clarification. It did throw me off.
Oh, does it sound weird? I won't do it anymore.
It doesn't sound weird to other people, but to me, I was like
biological sisters.
I'm like, does that mean he's going around just claiming lots of other people as his sister that he needs to differentiate?
No, I realize now that you say
people think that he might have like an actual adopted sister, but he's rude and like
exactly
needs to say that we're the biological one.
The reality is that now I'm
and his adopted one isn't.
Now I'm realizing how stupid this is because, like, so like, what does it matter if you were or you weren't my biological sister? What I'm really trying to say is that like we are from the same nuclear family unit that we grew up in. So maybe I should start.
Couldn't you just say this is my
nuclear sister,
my little sister? Oh, I guess maybe not.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. We'll keep workshopping it in the different rooms.
That's what we'll come up.
I think people are like, "Wow, I feel so bad for Shai's adopted sister." He like, it's like very specific about blood.
Sister, I would probably be more sensitive, and I would just refer to Becky as my sister because it would be equal 100% no matter what. So
we're just letting you know, as your biological sisters, we think
your biological sisters. I have an opinion on this.
I think that people need to understand Becky and I don't look alike. You know, Lily and I, we have
at this point face. We're both we're pretty soon you're gonna be able to open up my phone with your face. We're getting pretty close the way Lily can. Like we're getting closer.
All right. Let me finish the show. Follow us, join our Clubhouse room and have this kind of conversation. We'll do a Friday night movie game night soon. You can follow us. You can follow us or follow me at Pancake4Table, Pancake and the number 4 table on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow all the Friday Night Movie shenanigans at Friday Night Movie on Twitter and Instagram, or you can go to FridayNightMoviePod.com. Don't forget to rate and review us. More importantly, don't forget to check out the NAACP Legal Defense Fund and Equal Justice Initiative, two really important organizations that we are supporting as a family. With that, the theme music will come from What Does It Eat, and we will dance our way into the afternoon. Have a wonderful day. Bye, guys. Love you.
Bye.
Talked about Snowpiercer, the TV show, on this
because I don't want to watch it. The movie was good, but like not enough for me to watch more.
Right? Like who's going to watch a whole show about that? Even though Paul Bettany's wife, what's her name? I love her. Speaking of Paul Bettany.
But I mean, like, yeah,
What's
like,
your name from the
what are we going to
Labyrinth?
learn in a whole show about that? Like
that rich people are horrible? Like we
no, but like also
did
like the movie ends with the train stopping. How many seasons of the show are you going to watch without the train stopping?